Hi, my name is Mark, and I will be demonstrating how to use the GC, the gas chromatograph. So when you walk in the lab, this is the instrument that you'll be looking for. It's got the chromatogram, it's got the control panel from which you can control the conditions of the experiment. You got the oven, which has the capillary column inside. The capillary column will look something like this. You'll have all the information specific to this particular capillary column listed there. So it'll have the dimensions, the total length, the inner, the outer diameter, and the stationary phase that is being used. You got the gas cylinders behind me that provide the carrier gas and the fuel for the FID detector, the flame ionization detector. You got the data acquisition board, which processes the detector output. You've got the desktop computer, which will process the information into the form of a chromatogram. And you got your sample injection port, which is right here. To prepare for an injection, you have to make sure that both the gas chromatograph and the instrument software is both ready to perform an injection. So I'll first start with the gas chromatograph and set it for a particular program for the separation of PAH sample. So in the manual, it asks to use an initial temperature of 80 degrees Celsius and to increase it to a final temperature of 300 degrees Celsius at a rate of 10 degrees per minute. So I'll set it to 80 as my initial temperature, create a new line, and use my final temperature of 300 degrees, change the rate to 10 degrees per minute, and there, now it's set. I'll proceed on to the desktop computer, and you'll simply go to Acquisition tab, click on Quick Start. I'm running a pH sample, so the method is already there, so just simply click OK. And you'll come across this window where you will, in this box, put in a file name from which you can save your chromatogram. You can leave all these characters here, and after these, the underscore, just simply place a file name that you can easily identify at a later date. So best to use what your group identification is, what time you're doing the experiment, and what part of the experiment you're doing. So as an example, you could be Wednesday AM. You can say that if you're group 5, just type in group 5 and what part of the experiment, so part E. So once you have that, you can just leave everything as it is and just click Start. So once said idle, so now it's downloading the method. It'll perform a pre-run, and then it'll finally say waiting for injection. And when it says waiting for injection, that shows that the instrument software is ready to do the injection. You just have to come back here and make sure that the GC itself is ready. Once it says waiting for injection on the software, the chromatograph automatically does a 30-second countdown. So once it gets down to 0, you'll see the light that is lit up under not ready. It'll switch to ready. So at that point, you're ready to do your injection when it says ready and the software says waiting for injection. So at this point, you can now prepare to do your injection. You'll be using a micro syringe. It'll look just like this. It's a 10 microliter micro syringe. And you'll need to clean the syringe prior to use to remove any contaminants that might be present from a previous experiment that was performed. So you can just open up this wash solution. You should have 2 vials here, one with your sample and one with just solvent, and that's just to clean the syringe. So you should clean the syringe 10 to 20 times to ensure that all contaminants are removed. You'll do that with both the wash solvent and the sample that you will be injecting into the gas chromatograph. Once you clean with the wash solvent, you can just do a few rinsings with the sample. And when the syringe is sufficiently cleaned, you're now ready to take in your sample. And to do that, you just slowly place the syringe inside the vial and slowly take up your sample. It's best to do this as slow as possible, as if you take it up too quickly, you may introduce an air bubble. So it's a 10 microliter syringe, but the GC typically takes injection volume somewhere ranging between 1 to 2 microliters. So I have about 2 microliters of sample here. And at this point, you're ready to perform your injection. So to perform your injection, you'll use the sample injector port that's closest to you. It's labeled the FID detector, so make sure you use that port. Now what you'll see is a little piece of metal that's sticking out. It's kind of like a button or a trigger, where when you push down on that button, it starts the injection process on the chromatograph, and it also sends a signal to the system saying that you can now perform the integration. So once I push down on that, I'll inject the sample. So you'll first pierce the rubber septum, and then when I push down on the button, I'll inject the sample. And now you can see the light on the control panel no longer says ready, it now says run. So that shows that the injection is occurring and the separation process is occurring. And you now see that it's no longer saying ready, waiting for injection on the software, it now says running. So that shows that it's also integrating, and you can begin to see the formation of your baseline. Now when the injection is done, which will be in about 24 minutes, what you will have is the software will automatically save the chromatogram and process it. And then when you're ready to proceed with another injection, you just simply repeat the same steps. You'll have to go back to the acquisition and go to Quick Start and just save another file again. At first you add a little bit of baseline, and then you get this large sharp rise. That's the solvent peak that's making up your sample. It's now reached the detector. Eventually you'll see that trail back down again, and you'll have, as each separated PAH reaches the detector, you'll see that as the form of a peak. Now when you want to, when you're finished your run and you want to load up a chromatogram for printing, you can just simply go to the folder icon here, just click on the arrow next to it, and go to Open Chromatogram, and then just select the folder that you have your file saved in. And they're all stored according to the date, so just choose the month and the year, and then just simply look for your specific corresponding chromatogram. So if I choose this one as an example, it loads it up. So you got your solvent peak, all your separated PAHs. To print the chromatogram, you can just simply go to File, go to Print, and then print whatever number of copies you have for group members. So now you can see that there's a drop in the detector signal. So your solvent peak is now passing through the detector. Most of it's already passed through, and you should see within the next minute or so the detection of your first PAH.